Her name was Jessica. When her wealthy parents passed away, she inherited everything: the cars, the property, the family business, and that massive mansion everyone in town admired. She didn't have to lift a finger again in her life. Money flowed like water. But instead of continuing in her parents' legacy of kindness, Jessica became the complete opposite. Within a week of their burial, she fired every staff member who had once worked for her parents for years. The driver, the cooks, and even the old gatekeepers who had served her parents since she was a child. She shut down her parents' charity foundation, the same one that once paid school fees for hundreds of children. When people asked her why, she simply said, "I am not running a charity home. Everyone should feed for themselves." She locked herself inside the mansion, cut ties with family, and lived like a queen in a silent palace. To Jessica, generosity was weakness. She believed people only pretend to care when money was involved. Yet, outside those walls, the world was still talking. At the market, at saloon, in church, her name always came up. That girl has no heart. Her parents were Indian, she's the opposite. Money doesn't change people, it exposes them. Jessica never cared. She would walk past people with her head high and her sunglasses on, pretending not to hear. Jessica was so stingy that her story became a legend in town. She wasn't just careful with money, she treated spending like a sin. She wore white underwears for more than 20 years. Sometimes, she would wear the same clothes for straight 2 months. Every night, she would wash them quietly, hang them behind her door, and wear them again the next morning like nothing had happened. But even her neighbor began to notice. They would whisper, "Is she the poorest person in town? Why does she keep wearing the same clothes every day? Maybe she's saving money for her coffin." Her name spread everywhere, from the marketplace to the office, and even to the church gossip center. Everyone knew Jessica, the woman who had everything, but lived like she had nothing. She wasn't stingy only to others, she was stingy to herself. She would rather patch old slippers than buy new ones, and when her clothes tore, she sewed them back herself. Yet every night after work, she would sit in her room surrounded by bundles of cash, money sacked under her bed, in the drawer, inside bags, and even hidden inside her pillow. She would smile to herself and say, "It is better to save than to spend." One day, a poor woman came to her gate begging for a little help. Jessica looked at her from head to toe and said, "You have legs just like me. Go and walk, don't beg. I don't like it when people beg. I hate beggars like you." The woman tried to explain, but Jessica turned her back and smashed the gate. She walked away. Another day, a man with a big round belly came asking for food. Jessica frowned and said, "The Christmas food you ate hasn't digested, and you are here asking for more with this your big round belly like pot. You better go on fasting and prayer instead of fighting destiny." And with that, she chased him away. Jessica's stinginess had become a record in town. People said she could live in a house made of gold and still refuse to buy soap. But to her, there was nothing wrong with that. She believed the world belongs to those who kept, not those who gave. And so, night after night, Jessica kept counting her millions, smiling proudly, wearing the same clothes, whispering to herself, "I may not look rich, but I will die with more than they can ever imagine." Few weeks later, Jessica's cousin called Precious came to stay with her. Precious had wasted all her money on parties, clothes, and fake lives. She had nothing left, not even enough to pay for her rent. Her only hope was on Jessica. When Jessica agreed to let her stay, Precious was overjoyed. The mansion was big, beautiful, and sparkling. She thought she was finally going to live like a princess, but little did she know, she was stepping straight into hell. The first week felt okay. Jessica welcomed her warmly, gave her a room, and even cooked for her once. But by the next week, everything changed. Jessica made her do every single thing: washing the clothes, scrubbing the floor, cleaning the bathroom, and even washing every single plate in the house. Precious became more of a housemaid than a guest. And if she dared to rest, Jessica would shout from the living room, "Precious, you are eating free food and you still want to rest. Please wash those curtains before the sun sets." Precious began to regret ever coming. But what can she do? She was sent to school. Nobody told her to squander her money the way she did. She had no option but to continue managing with Jessica. One day, out of desperation, Precious came up with a plan. She knew Jessica had money. Everyone did. But getting her to spend even 1 naira was like asking a lion to share its meat. Oh, she printed a fake doctor's report claiming she had kidney failure and needed 2 million for surgery. With fake tears in her eyes, she showed the paper to Jessica and said, "Sister Jessica, please help me. If I do not do the surgery soon, I will die." Jessica stared at the report quietly. Said, "Alright." Then she stood up and walked away. Precious smiled, her heart racing. She thought, finally, my plan worked. She waited, imagining Jessica would come back with bundles of cash and hand it to her. But when Jessica returned, she wasn't holding money. She was holding a small bottle of olive water. She looked at Precious and said, "Surgery is nonsense. Doctors just want to eat your money. This is olive water. This water had healed me for many things. Look at me, strong and healthy. Drink this and you will be fine, I promise." Precious was speechless. Her jaw dropped. She couldn't believe what she was hearing. Jessica gave her the bottle proudly and added, "Don't worry, I will pray for you. That's better than wasting 2 million naira on nonsense surgery." That night, Precious cried quietly. She had no other choice. "I cannot continue living like a slave. This is not the kind of life I want to live. I want to live like a big girl that I am. Look at me now, campus girl. I am now washing the plate, doing cuttings, Abba, no now. I must look for a way. I cannot continue like this," she said to herself. The next morning, when Jessica left for work, Precious sneaked into her room. Under the bed, inside a big mental box, she found it. Bundles of cash, packed tightly, shining like treasures. Without thinking twice, she grabbed a portion, shoved it into her handbag, and disappeared. When Jessica came back that evening, she noticed the house was quiet, no Precious. She rushed to her bedroom, opened her money box, and screamed, "Some of the money is gone. My money is missing." A loud cries filled the entire neighborhood. People gathered around shocked. "So you really have all this money, and you have been wearing the same clothes for 2 months? Jessica, are you okay at all? What is your own?" Everyone looked at her with pity. Others shook their head and walked away. Jessica was furious. She wanted to report Precious to the police, but when she remembered that filing a case and transport fare to the station would cost her money, she changed her mind. She sighed deeply and said, "Let her go. It is better to lose money once than to keep losing it on police." And that night, Jessica went to bed holding her olive water, murmuring, "People will always disappoint you, but my money will never betray me." One fateful evening, dark clouds gathered over the city. Thunders rumbled, lightning flashed, and the rain began to pour. Jessica had just closed from work, holding her small handbag tightly under her arms. At the bus stop, a taxi driver rolled down his window and said, "Madam, 5,000 naira to your area, you dey go?" Jessica eyes wide. "Eh? 5,000 naira? Are you carrying me to heaven, abi wait?" The driver replied, "Madam, fuel is cost." Jessica hissed, raised her chin, and replied, "I would rather trek. It's just 2 hours walk. I will not die." And with that, she began walking home under the rain. The road was muddy. The rain was heavy. The car speed past, splashing dirty water on her clothes. Her hair was soaked, but Jessica didn't care. In her mind, she kept saying, "I just saved 5,000 naira. Let the rain fall." Every drop that hit her felt like a small victory. She was smiling through the storm, proud of her achievement. Then, out of nowhere, a car slowed down beside her. The tiny window rolled down, and a young man leaned over the steaming wheel. "Excuse me, are you okay?" he asked. Jessica turned, dripping wet but still proud. "I'm fine," she said. "I'm just going home. The taxi here are thieves." The man chuckled. "You would rather walk 2 hours in the rain than pay for a ride?" Jessica nodded confidently. "Why waste money when you can save it?" The man smiled and said, "Alright, then allow me to give you a free ride, no charge." Jessica's eye lifted up immediately. That was the sweetest sentence she has heard all day. Free ride. Cool. She entered the car, shivering but smiling. As the wiper cleared the raindrops, she looked at him with admiration. His name was Ozzy, new in town, kind and warm-hearted. But the time he dropped her off at her mansion, Jessica was glowing, not because she was dry, but because she hasn't spent a single dime. To her, any penny saved was worth celebrating. That night, she lay on her bed smiling to herself. She kept thinking about Ozzy, the man who saved her from wasting 5,000 naira. And for the first time in a very long while, Jessica felt something she hasn't felt before, a soft warmth in her heart. Who would have thought that the stingiest woman alive could feel love? The days that followed were sweet for Jessica and Ozzy. They talked every day, went on long walks, and slowly they began to understand each other. Ozzy was caring, calm, and patient, the complete opposite of Jessica's stingy, controlling personality. But Omar, love found its way between them. Soon, they decided to get married. One fateful afternoon, Ozzy and Jessica visited her uncle, the family's elders, to collect the marriage list. The moment the list landed in Jessica's hand, her eye wide disbelief. It was long, very, very long. There was cow, goat, bag of rice, yam, wrappers, drinks, and even an envelope of money for Eda's sitting allowance. Jessica's mouth fell open. Uncle, what is this? Wait oh, are we planning a wedding or feeding the whole nation? Her uncle laughed. It's just tradition, my daughter. But Jessica was not smiling. She whispered to Ozzy, we are not paying for all this nonsense. They think I am an ATM, Abi? Ozzy tried to calm her down. Jessica, it's okay. It's just once in a lifetime. After much argument, Jessica later agreed. But as she left the compound that day, her heart was burning with anger. They will pay for this, she mumbled under her breath. Nobody chased Jessica and Ghost. The big day finally came. The hall was filled with laughter, music, and delicious aroma. Jessica's uncle sat proudly at the front table, surrounded by family and guests. Everyone was enjoying the celebration, everyone except Jessica. She was smiling, yes, but inside her mind, she was waiting for the perfect moment to strike. Then it happened. She saw her uncle's table, plates filled with rice, meat, and soup. Without a word, she stood up, adjusted her gown, and walked straight to his table. At first, people thought she was just going to meet him, to greet, but Jessica pulled a chair, sit down, picked up a spoon, and began to eat from her uncle's plate. 1 spoon, 2 spoon, 3 spoon. Her uncle laughed awkwardly. Ah, Jessica, you want to eat with us? But Jessica didn't stop. She kept eating, fast, determined, and focused. Soon, the laughter in the hall turned into stunned silence. Jessica finished every plate on that table, the rice, the meat, even the salad. Her tummy pumped under her wedding gown, but she didn't care. She stood up and wiped her mouth, said loudly, Uncle, don't be disappointed. I paid for the list you gave me already, and this food here is just a bonus. It is my decision to give or to take. As you can see, I have made my decision. She stood up and walked away. The whole hall fell silent. Her uncle's mouth hung open. The crowd was shocked. Even Ozzy, her groom, could only stare in disbelief. He had seen stinginess before, but this was a new level. Jessica smiled proudly and walked back to her seat, satisfied. In her mind, she had finally balanced the equation. After the wedding, everything seems fine. For a few days, Ozzy was excited about starting a new life with his wife. He even planned a surprise honeymoon to Dubai. But one evening, he told her with a smile, but Jessica frowned immediately. Vacation? To waste money in another country? Never. Ozzy laughed, thinking she was just joking, but she wasn't. She folded her arms and said firmly, the ticket money alone can buy 10 bags of rice. I am not going anywhere. And just like that, the honeymoon was cancelled. After that, Ozzy began to realize what kind of person he had married. Jessica's stinginess wasn't just a habit, it was a full-time lifestyle. In the house, everything was measured. The toothpaste was measured, the tissue was measured, and even the amount of rice cooked per day was measured with a scale. If Ozzy went to the toilet and flushed more than once, Jessica would shout from the sitting room, "Ha! Why are you wasting water? You think NEPA give us freebie, abi?" Ozzy would sign, frustrated but helpless. She would say, "One meal is enough for stomach, you are not a lion." Jessica cooked only once a day. Sometimes, Ozzy would go to the bed hungry, staring at the ceiling, wondering what kind of life he had entered. Whenever he brought his friend over, Jessica would scold them openly. Don't waste that food. Take small meat. You people came to visit, not to finish my kitchen, eh? A loud voice would fill the room, embarrassing Ozzy. Soon, he stopped bringing anyone to the house. The once happy home became a silent desert. Ozzy hardly smiled anymore. He would sneak out at night, buy food from roadside vendor, and eat quietly in the corner before going back inside. Jessica thought she was being smart, saving money, saving food, saving everything. But what she didn't know was that she was losing something far more expensive: peace. Jessica's wealth kept increasing. Every business she touched turned into gold. Money kept flowing from every corner. But instead of relaxing, she became more and more stingy. She didn't trust anyone, not even the banks. Banks are thieves, she would say. They will eat my money with computer error. She kept all her cash at home, bundles upon bundles of naira notes hidden under her bed, behind wardrobe, and even hidden inside empty paint buckets. Ozzy became scared. He told her one night, Jessica, please, this is dangerous. If this enter this house, we will lose everything. After a long argument, she finally agreed. But she didn't take it to the bank. No, no. Jessica carried all the money to her parents' house, dig a ground, packed it into a big window box, and buried it behind the big house. Few days later, Jessica decided to go check on her treasure. She digged up the box, heart beating fast with excitement. The moment she opened it, her smile disappeared. Inside were worms. The money had decayed. The notes were weak, steaming and tearing apart in her hand. Jessica screamed, No, 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 my money, my hard-earned money. She fell to the ground, crying like a child. Heartbroken, she dragged herself back home, but the moment she entered, she froze. Her mother-in-law was in the living room, foaming with anger. Look at how lean my son has become, she shouted. You have turned him into a shadow. Jessica's eyes shifted towards the kitchen, and what she saw shocked her. A young woman was there, cooking banga soup and starch. The aroma filled the whole house. The soup was rich, full of meat, fish, crayfish, bushmeat, antelope, beef, fried fish, name it. The kind Jessica had never cooked for her husband. And then she saw Ozzy sitting by the table, smiling, licking his finger as he ate with joy. Jessica's heart sank. Her money was gone. Her husband was sleeping away. Her home felt empty. She screamed, No! And suddenly she woke up. Jessica sat up sweating. Ozzy was behind her, still asleep. She looked around. It was all just a dream. The next morning, she hurried to her parents' house, dug up the box, and there was it. Her money was still intact, clean and shiny. She dropped to her heels and whispered, Thank you, God. Thank you, God, for the warning. From that day on, Jessica changed completely. She began treating people with kindness, her neighbor, her family, and most importantly, herself and her husband. She finally learned that money was good, but life, love, and peace was far richer. And that was how Jessica, the stingiest woman alive, finally learned that money may buy comfort, but it never truly buy peace. For years, she counted every coin but forget to count the heart she was losing. It took one dream, one pitiful warning to open her eyes.